61. While the owner of a condominium and the renter of an apartment share numerous characteristics, their legal connection to the property is different. Which of the choices below do the tenant and condo owner share? Non-freehold interest. Estate of inheritance. Estate in real property. Fee interest. Explanation. The answer is an estate in real property. The condominium owner and the lessee each have estates in real property. The condominium owner's estate is a fee estate. The lessee's interest is a less than freehold estate, also called a leasehold estate. 62. Which form of legal description makes use of a plat map? Rectangular survey. Lot and block. Beats and bounds. Street and number. Explanation. The answer is lot and block. The lot and block method identifies land by referencing the lot and block numbers appearing on recorded subdivided land maps and plats. 63. First mortgages and second mortgages on the same piece of property can typically be distinguished in county clerk's office records by recorder-generated notations. Date of recording. The clerk on duty. The date the instrument was created. The correct answer is the date of recording. Mortgage and deed priority is determined by the date of recording, not the time of signing. Regardless of the dates, a mortgage is referred to as a first mortgage if it was recorded before another mortgage. The mortgage recorded subsequently is known as a second mortgage. 64. A loan with interest only is known as amortized, straight, non-negotiable, negotiable. Explanation. The answer is straight. A straight note is one that requires only interest payments during the loan period and a balloon payment of principal at the end of the term. An amortized loan requires principal repayment in installments over the life of the loan. 65. An established business relationship exists if the consumer has made an inquiry with the company within how many months prior to the call? 6. 18. 12. 3. Explanation. The answer is 3. For an EBR to exist, the consumer must have made an inquiry with the company within 3 months before the call. 66. On a salesperson's website, she has listed her name, area of specialty, the brokerage firm, and the firm's phone number. What else does she need to be in compliance? Her cell phone number. Nothing. Her license number. Her email address. Explanation. The answer is nothing. The salesperson might include her cell phone number and email address for ease of contact and would need to include her license number, but the current website meets the requirement of listing the brokerage firm. 67. The do not call rules apply to telephone solicitations made in state only to persons who made an inquiry within the last 12 months, both in state and state to state. State to state only. Explanation. The answer is both in state and state to state. The do not call rules apply to both interstate and interstate telephone calls. Parties must have made an inquiry within the past 3 months to allow solicitation. 68. An appraiser seeking to find market value would be concerned with all of the following except current market sales, income value, original cost of the property, reproduction cost. Explanation. The answer is the original cost of the property. The property's initial cost is not considered in any method of valuation. Market value is determined in an appraisal by the appraiser using market sales, reproduction costs, and income value. Though, if the initial cost of the property was zero, meaning it was inherited or given to someone, obviously that would not affect the price of the sale in the future. 69. There are three main causes of depreciation. Which of these derives from societal roots and serves as the foundation for the old axiom, more houses are torn down than fall down? Functional obsolescence, physical deterioration, straight line method, economic obsolescence. Explanation. The answer is economic obsolescence. Physical deterioration, functional obsolescence, or economic obsolescence all contribute to depreciation. Economic obsolescence, being incurable, would result in buildings being demolished prior to collapsing. Note that a building is typically torn down when it reaches the end of its economic life. 70. An agency listing agreement between the owner of real property and a real estate broker creates a fiduciary relationship. Does all of these. Is an employment contract employing the broker to secure a buyer. Should contain all the responsibilities of both the broker and the owner. Explanation. The answer is that an agency agreement does all of these. An agency listing is an employment contract establishing an agency relationship between the broker and seller. An agency relationship is a fiduciary relationship. A fiduciary relationship is a position of trust and loyalty which an agent has with regard to the client. Since the listing establishes an agency relationship only for the purpose of securing a buyer, it must define the agent's authority and responsibility as well as the seller's responsibility when the broker performs the required acts. 71. Exclusive listing contracts are all of the following except unilateral, bilateral, terminated upon death of the principal, express. Explanation. The answer is unilateral. The unilateral contract is binding upon only one party. Valid listing contracts are express bilateral agreements. They terminate upon the death of the broker or the principal. A written contract is an express contract. Both the seller and broker make promises. 72. A seller sold his farm under a written contract of sale that made no statements about assignment. The buyer assigned the contract of sale to a new buyer. Until the sale is settled, the equitable title is held by the new buyer, first buyer and new buyer, seller. Explanation. The answer is new buyer. All contracts are assignable unless there are terms specifying that they cannot be assigned. Obligations move to the person whom the contract is assigned to, in this case, the new buyer. 73. If a party to a valid real estate contract becomes bankrupt while the contract is executory, the contract is voidable, terminates, is still enforceable, must be renegotiated. Explanation. The answer is that the contract terminates. All contracts are terminated by bankruptcy. 74. All of the following elements are prorated at the time of closing, with the exception of utilities, interest on a mortgage, taxes on real estate, sales price. The answer is sales price. Taxes, interest, rent, and utilities are all prorated at closing. This means that the buyer and seller each pay their share of these expenses based on the number of days they own the property. The sales price, however, is not prorated. The entire amount is paid by the buyer on the day of closing. 75. The escrow agent represents both the buyer and the seller. The real estate agent, just the seller. solely to the purchaser. Explanation: both the buyer and the seller is the correct answer. The escrow agent is a neutral third party who is responsible for holding onto the earnest money deposit and ensuring that all instructions in the escrow are followed. The agent does not represent either party but instead makes sure that the contract is carried out as agreed upon. 76. When a property is transferred and a new deed is recorded, the state assesses a tax known as personal property tax, transfer tax, special assessment tax, relative property tax. The correct answer is a transfer tax. Transfer taxes are a fee that you have to pay when you record a new deed, which indicates the transfer of ownership. This fee is based on the sales price. 77. While the owner of a condominium and the renter of an apartment share numerous characteristics, their legal connection to the property is different. Which of the choices below do the tenant and condo owner share? Non-freehold interest, estate of inheritance, estate in real property, fee interest. Explanation: the answer is an estate in real property. The condominium owner and the lessee each have estates in real property. An easier way to say that is they both have some rights to the property. The condominium owner's estate is a fee estate. The lessee's interest is a less than freehold estate, also called a leasehold estate. But that's the only thing they have in common, that they each have some rights to the real property. 78. Which form of legal description makes use of a plat map? Rectangular survey, lot and block, meets and bounds, street and number. Explanation: the answer is lot and block. The lot and block method identifies land by referencing the lot and block numbers appearing on recorded subdivided land maps and plats. 79. In the rectangular survey method, units of 1 square mile are called quarter sections, townships, ranges, sections. Explanation: the answer is sections. The section is 1 mile by 1 mile or 1 square mile. Edit. The township contains 640 acres, 640 sections, more than 10,000 hectares, 36 square miles. Explanation: the answer is 36 square miles. A township is 6 miles by 6 miles and, therefore, contains 36 square miles. The section has 640 acres.